Smash Factor.
Ripping driver, going for it. Oh my goodness. How about that tee shot?
That is crazy how far that is.
Wow. John Daly, take a back seat, big fella. How about that drive?
That's an aggressive line. Man, that is beyond long.
Look at this, he's just driven the green. He has just driven the green.
I guess hello world, huh?
Welcome everybody to week 22 of the 2020-2021 PGA season. We have the Honda Classic week here, and for the first time in many years, I will not be there live and in person like I have been. Just a lot going on this week. Kid spring break week for us. Got a family member moving. I got to help out. My wife is opening up another store in her market next week, but has a lot of people in this week getting that ready. So couldn't go this year, but I am looking forward to live golf. I think I may try to make either match play or Valero or both. Valero, I believe, is Easter weekend. So I'd have to go earlier in the week there. Definitely won't be back for Easter on Sunday with the kiddos, but match play is always the one year I went. Beautiful course, very fun to walk, very nice to walk. So may try to go to that. I'll figure those out, here this week. Go see some live golf. Obviously, we'd love to go to the Masters. That's what's ahead of us the next upcoming weeks. Next week is the match play, then Valero, and then the Masters. So right around the corner for our next major of the year. Wrapping up with the quote-unquote fifth major last week, or yesterday, I guess. Very awesome tournament, very always fun to watch, unpredictable. We saw, on average, high 2 to low 4% on the 6 of 6. Survived some of it, had some life there, had some 6 of 6s. Sunday just didn't go my way at all. Had 5 of 6 in the 71-25 milli maker. There was only 10 lineups, I believe, out of all of them that were 6 of 6. But Sunday was not. I mean, Kirk collapse really is basically what cost me. Siwoo, finished okay. Definitely gave some chances away early that I felt he could have actually got on a run. But ultimately, the final decision for me Thursday morning was what cost me quite a bit actually on the week. I was down to Cantley, Siwoo, or Morikawa Harman. Morikawa Harman was obviously the choice. Would have got 6 of 6 in. Morikawa with a fantastic Sunday to kind of get some lineups going. Had him in some of my MME builds. -2 finish, but the 66 definitely helped. And then Harman, I can't remember where he finished, but was up there all week. I liked him all week. Just didn't pull the trigger. I mean, other than Cantley missing the cut, obviously I still didn't hate it, mainly because I was the only person out of that entire contest that had Siwoo. So as I was kind of riding him. The better he did. That lineup was kind of cashing pretty much all week. Fell out of the cash late Sunday, and again never, as Kirk kept. Harman finished third, so definitely much better going that route, the Morikawa route. But can't second guess yourself. I try to go back through it last night, seeing what I missed. Probably the only thing with Cantley was just coming off of the withdrawal and not knowing exactly where he was. He was higher owned as well. I didn't think he'd be that high owned. He was one of the highest in that contest. Morikawa was high owned too, but not as high. Obviously, Siwoo was super low owned, a lot lower than Harman. I think that's ultimately where I think as I was going through my whole process, I was like, I really felt Siwoo would have lower ownership, same kind of upside, probably a little more risk with Kim over Harman. I felt Harman had a good floor on the week, and I used him a bunch. I just did in that contest, but when you miss out of the min cash by just a few points there at the end, it really grinds on you. Especially doing this, all the time. week like that, definitely, horrible week overall, lost a lot, but to be that close, I guess not upside or positive. It's like, you made the wrong choice, but you still had a chance to min cash there at the end, or better if they all have a good Sunday. I mean, if Kirk shoots even par, even +1, I make money on the week easily. So you're still right there coming in the final day, and you can't harp on it too much. But betting, added JT 40-1 Friday night. Thought he could get back into it. The nice thing about everybody that made the cut, we saw this the several guys that made the cut, maybe one off the number, two off the number. JT was up one, he was -2, cut was even. It was so compacted from first place to anybody that basically made the cut. Anybody could kind of shoot themselves into it. What he did, I think, tied as the best mark of how much ground he made up through the weekend. Tremendous Saturday. I felt he had a low round in him. I didn't necessarily know if he could do that, but the 40-1 just felt like a really good number, and I think a lot of the people added it. Several had him pre-turning. I didn't go down that low, the 20-1 number, which was awesome as well. But get him at 40, I'll take it all week. I think it's my 8th winning ticket this season. Out of 22 weeks, 21 weeks, I've had 8 winning tickets and 5 first-round leaders, so 13 winning tickets in 21 weeks. I'll take that all day, every day. So been a good year there, climbing back in. After a horrendous college football season, it cost a lot of profit. NFL was just like break even, I think, by the time it all is said and done. So golf, especially this last, since January, also has been a pretty good run overall. Made up a little bit on the week for the disaster that was DFS. Just few small moves. It's like you go back and you think about it. Well, did a lot of people just say avoid that week because there's so much volatility? We're gonna have the exact similar deal this week. A not as strong field by any means, and your talent gap here is probably a lot tighter at times because you got guys up in the 9 and 10K that you gotta. This is one of those weeks where it'd be good to practice what I do on trying not to look at the price and all that and the player, just get your model, and you got to kind of go with it because it's relative to the field. So guys are going to be up there that you're just not used to seeing at that price. But I think there's some good prices as well. Good opportunities here, but we've seen crazy low 6-6s here, and crazy cut numbers. So it'll be another grind. Not very high scoring week. Finishing positions will be huge this week. We could see, close to par win this. I think if the winds hold up, I think it's going to be a lot like last year for sure. Last year, I think it was Friday. We got a pretty good scoring day, and so the guys several guys went low, but 6 under won it. And I think we're going to be there or better, worse, however you want to look at it. -3, -4, somewhere in there could win it. -6, definitely. I think 9 under or lower is going to win it. I don't think anybody gets to double digits this week. Not on this course, at least. We'll get all that in just a second. Quick promos, Masters. Get 30% off any package using code Masters. Our promo is going through Sunday of Augusta. We will draw 3 winners. The winner gets to pick choice between a Titleist, TSI driver, and you'll get custom made you get to pick a shaft and all that kind of stuff that fits your swing. And then now if you want to upgrade to an upgraded shaft, that's on you, but you'll get a standard shaft. Just get to pick what you like, what kind, and all that kind of stuff. Set of custom made Vokey SM8 wedges. You'll get to custom make those. You'll see in the picture that it has Gup's Corner on there. You can keep that, or you can make it whatever you want. There's a lot of ideas out there. If you look at them, it's pretty cool how they go through that process. And then we'll have the GC gift pack. You see some items on the picture on the @Gup's Corner Twitter handle that from the Masters plus GC swag. All these are right around $400 to $600 values each. So we'll be doing more giveaways leading up to that with the rate and review us on iTunes. So make sure you get that done. I keep that going, and subscribe and like this video on YouTube. Those are 2 of the biggest ways you guys can help us, get more awareness out there for the Gup's Corner community. Tons of great feedback from the community this weekend. Everybody enjoying the new site, the new tools. We upgraded the green machine. We're going to continue to improve that. But a lot of great feedback on that already this weekend. So what I want is give me your favorite player in the comments of this video in the 8K range. And I'll do a drawing Wednesday, like I have been announcing the winners on the movers and shakers. A little bit different schedule this week with spring break and all that, but I'll keep you up to date on that for you premium sub members of what my schedule will be like. Content wise won't change, but the live pod and E9 may be a little different, but I'll let you guys know that either today or tomorrow once I know a little bit better my wife's schedule and stuff. Listener League winner, I think our first two-time golf winner this year, the Jamokes, I think that's how you say it, Jamokes. 544.5 points, solid lineup. Had JT, Bryson, Neiman, Usti, Answer, and Westwood. Westwood obviously being one of the keys of the week. Even though he couldn't get it done, he definitely had a hell of a week. Him and Bryson kind of go back to back, and several guys that were up on the board 2 weeks ago were there this week as well for the players. So I don't know if that's something to note if we kind of keep this rotation, but I did notice that a lot of guys did well at both tournaments, led by Bryson and Westwood being two of those guys. JT, I don't think he played API. Maybe, I don't know. I'd have to look that up. But several of those guys, I did notice that when I was doing some reviewing and prepping for this week. So congrats to him. He was already in the league, so no need to sign up again. We'll have another winner this week. The listener league is in the link. I'm doing 500 this week. Dropped it back down 100 just because I wasn't quite sure how much hangover there was going to be in the industry. Then we get the grind next week of match play, which is more of a mental deal. I built a tool last year. It was in part of the hard drive that kind of got crashed, but I'll rebuild it again. That allows you to know that all your lineups. The biggest deal on next week is getting your lineups at least a chance that all 6 can make the final 4 or Elite 8 and then the final 4. It's gotten better over the last few years, or 2 years, but we didn't have this last year. But 3 years ago, massive advantage for me. I did very well that week because so many lineups were dead. They built where guys were going to be eliminated before ever getting out, into that at least Elite 8. And last year, even with so much, or 2 years ago, even with so much more awareness on it, there was still quite a bit of dead lineup. So that's more we'll talk about next week, but that's always a challenge, fun to do. Course preview this week, the PGA National. As always, go check out Kenny Kim's article on the website or his podcast where he does a great job going in depth. Having been here many years, definitely know the course very well. Par 70, 7,100, 50 yards, 2 par 5s. So that's kind of one reason. Another reason we don't see as low scores. 4 par 3s, some of the hardest par 3s on the tour, and always probably top 5 at least in difficulty as a whole. This course is. So, it's very tough, a lot of water, a lot of big blow up hole potential, bunkers all over the place. Distance helps, but it really comes down to saving bogey around the green, approach game. It's an iron course. Your irons got to be on fire. I think one of my notes say to look more at recent form this week, because 2 things: more at recent form and kind of course history. One recent form is like, this isn't a place like to go get right. Like, you don't go to PGA National and I'm gonna get my game going this week. So that's one thing. And the note, the sub note there was, especially tee to green. So if a guy's been struggling putting and he may have miscut here and miscut there, I'd tell you to go look at his tee to green game. If that's okay, then I'm still going to be on him this week. Davis is one of them that comes to mind right off the top. Tee to green game has been fairly okay. He's struggled putting, missed the last 2 cuts, but he's done well here the last 2 years also. The one thing about this course is, while you'll see guys do well here, so I think it does matter somewhat, almost all of them, similar to last week, have a miscut here or there. It's just a tough course and a tough cut to make. So the guys can finish in the top 10 3 years in a row and then miss a cut easily. Look at Ricky, last 4 years, first miscut, second miscut. So that just kind of sums it up, in a nutshell, for me. As always, at this course, I think it's a good week to MME if you're trying to choose contests, just because of that, how crazy low we can see 6 of 6s and how hard. And this year, I think the field's probably the weakest it's been in the last 5-6 years. Still strong players and guys that can go off, but I think it brings in a lot more players to the field. That can compete, and there's still always going to be some that are kind of quote unquote easy mark offs. But I think if I was leaning one way, I think it sounds it's more of an MME week for me. Doesn't mean I won't do 1 and 3 max. I still typically do those no matter what. Mainly because I'm building that way for listener leagues, stuff like that already. Contests are great again this week. Not as good as last week, but still some solid contests out there. Thick rough around here, that makes it difficult as well. Puts a premium on being in the fairway. You don't necessarily have to. You're gonna have long irons at times, anyways. But it is definitely an advantage to be in the fairway versus being in the rough. It'd be interesting. There's some guys. Obviously the big talk right now is Bryson and that length, but Rory's one here. I would think. I don't know how Bryson here, if he like bombed it and he got in that rough, how well he would do. Obviously, we thought that at the U.S. Open he went on to win it, but it's not impossible to get up and down out of the rough here, but it makes it hard, and that's really where around the green game and like bogey avoidance and stuff I think comes into play this week. Quick and firm greens traditionally. It is a little bit later than it has been of recent. Normally this tournament's middle of February, third week-ish. Obviously about a month later than last year, 3 to 4 weeks later than last year. So I'm interested to see if that changes anything. I really don't think it will much, but we know OG John and Scott will be there this week. Several of the Gups Corner people are going to be there. So if you are, let me know. You can still reach out to John and those guys and go check it out with them. He goes every year. So I'll see if he gets any local insight on how the course is playing as we get closer to Wednesday. Weather, 40-50% chance of rain Friday and Sunday. That's it. Outside of that, nothing crazy. Doesn't look like big systems by any means. Plenty of wind though. Being the worst as of now, Thursday. So it's going to be a very hard start for these guys out the gate. Thursday, little less wind, and it's also shifting. Thursday, strong south winds, and then they turn out of the north the rest of the tournament. Obviously will help some, hurt some holes. Probably something to keep in mind, especially as we go looking at showdown throughout the week. I don't see a wave advantage right this second, but that can change. We can always get, early mornings very calm-ish, and guys can go take care of the course, attack it a little bit easier. We saw it 2 years ago with Palmer on Sunday morning. But if we do see a pretty significant wave advantage for wind, this is a course and a place where, the heat maps can come into play, and I'll have those out if I think we need it. I'm going to put the cut at +5. I think this course is going to play ridiculously hard this year. As hard or harder than last year. I think last year's cut was +4. Winner was -6. I think you'll be right there again. I think we're going to have a winner around -4 to -6 at best. People will still score. They'll take advantage of it, but I think you're going to see. Don't get frustrated either if you get if someone shoots 4 over or something Thursday, because I think the cut will be. I think the best it would be is probably like +3, but I think you'll see +4, +5 type numbers. So. Definitely finishing positions, although almost impossible to account for pre-tournament, those will matter a lot more this week. You're having guys up there to get those extra bonuses because guys aren't going to have a lot of DK scoring like they normally do. Not a ton of chances for streaks here, although it can happen. But I think you'll see very low winning numbers. Probably high 300s, even maybe low 400s. Or like last week, I just said he had 550. So. I think that strategy definitely matters. Like grinders, can make the cut, just be alive, and then hope things fall your way on a Sunday is kind of what you need here. But I do enjoy it. I like I love going to it. I'll be there next year. I'll miss it this year, watching it on TV for the first time in forever. So I'll be kind of different to see it that way. But I am looking forward to the tournament in itself and DraftKings this week. I think we got some good chances. Former winners here. Sung Jae, obviously last year. Killer Keith. Justin Thomas, Ricky Fowler, Adam Scott, Harrington's won here twice, Russell Henley in 2014, Michael Thompson, Rory, both Rorys back-to-back, Sabatini in 11 and McIlroy in 12, Camilo Villegas, some runner-ups, Anthony Kim, there's a blast from the past, wish he was still playing, Tiger, Palmer, Knox, Rory, Berger, Garcia, Luke List, Mackenzie Hughes, Ricky Fowler, Brooks. So you can kind of see, it's almost like this tells you stars and scrubs, because you see a lot of big names when they've played here have done well, just that elite talent, and then but you've also had some long shots kind of win out of nowhere as well. And we don't have just those big boys this week to, like a Rory or a Brooks or JT or anybody that typically I think Brooks was signed up to play this before his injury, that obviously took him out last week. So, but he's not. He would have been a massive favorite here, and the highest price by far. For me, the stats I'm looking at this week: ball strike, just overall ball striking, accurate approach around the green, bogey avoidance, and scoring ops inside 18 feet. These greens are bigger, but they are hard to hit, just because a lot of times guys are coming out of the rough or whatever, and I think it's almost 40% of the time missed greens here. So around the green game, bunker saves, all that kind of stuff is huge this week. Scrambling ability, I don't really like that setup. I prefer to just look at like around the green and putting separately as opposed to combine. But those are all things I think that are important this week. Guys that are mentally can grind it out as well. I don't know if it helps or hurt playing the last 2 weeks. Guys coming in here, great form, but also another grind, and then they've just had 2 very tough weeks. So be interesting to see that. We've not seen this rotation schedule set up to see how these guys fare, but we will this year, and we'll see what it's like. Only 12 players out of this whole field has not played since 2016 here. So a majority of the field has at least played here once, many of them several times. Right now, I got 136 names in DraftKings. We had Woodland and Piercy withdrew a couple hours ago because of positive COVID testing. So they're out. I didn't see for sure who's in, and there'll be 4 Monday qualifiers that they'll finish up, probably getting close right now. It's 7 o'clock there. We did get daylight savings time this weekend though, so probably getting close, but we'll see who the 4 are, and DK will probably add all those guys tomorrow later-ish. Sometimes they don't get added to Wednesday, but we'll see. I always add that to the final rankings. If not, we got 5 guys in the 10K, 5 in the 9K, 11 in the 8K, 37 in the 7K, and 78 in the 6K. You'll probably see all 6 of those guys in the 6K that get added as well. Sweet 16 for me this week. A lot of new listeners last week. Appreciate it. Hopefully you're back. 9K and above in this range, I always do 3 and a bubble boy out of these 4 salary ranges. That gets me to 16. Then I do a fade of the week, sleeper of the week, gut feel plays. Then we do a top 5 that pop, and 2 long shots on the betting provided by Monkey Knife Fight. Sweet 16, 9K and above. I'm going to start with Henley. I do think he'll probably be pretty popular here, but this week you may just have to eat some chalk up there, because I think the ownership may get concentrated just because of the talent level at some of these 9 and 10K guys, and then just be different everywhere. I mean, like, get unique builds going elsewhere. It's pretty clear last week that a lot of people went with 2 or 3 guys in that 9K range, and built down, leaving some ownership, exposure up in the 10K range where you could gain some leverage. Being able to get Bryson and JT though in the 9Ks both obviously paid off well, for the Millie Maker type lineups. This week, I think you could see a little bit of that because there's some popping names there in the 9K. But I think Berger's going to be extremely popular. Obviously, he could go back to back here. Another good week last week. Neiman probably going to be popular. Westwood, I think, maybe lower owned. The price people, I think he'll be a sticker. But I mean, remember last year Wednesday night at the Honda Class, when we were there at the DFS Open week and all that, he was a guy that I actually liked, and came on the pod and said he was a guy that wasn't on my radar at all. Watched him live. He was not $10,600 though, but he wasn't coming in with back-to-back seconds as well. So I mean, I think he could get that on. It's obviously, we saw he's going out with was it Lowry? I think Kim and Lowry going to Augusta to play today and tomorrow. So not really on there. Is there a potential for a letdown there? Could be, but I think he'll also be low owned, so you could take advantage of that ownership there at that price. Scott, I think, is close. Always need the putter, but 10-1 being the cheapest in this range, I think he could get ownership. So I think it'll be fairly spread out up here. We'll see how the industry is, but for me, I like Henley. I'm willing to eat that chalk if I need to right now. He's number one in my model. Last 5 years here, a miscut, and then a 43rd, 24th, 20th, and an 8th. So solid form here, plays well here, makes a lot of cuts here. And I get him at a discount under the 10K mark. I like him a lot this week. Gooch, I think he could get popular, especially with his finish yesterday. We hopped on him. I already had him. He was one I released earlier in the week, but I hopped on him again at 100 to 1 when he was kind of making that run. And I don't think the books were ready to move off of the Westwood Bryson JT type stuff yet. So you're still getting some pretty good numbers of guys that I thought, man, if they can just post a good number. Connors was another one. Post a number earlier and let him come get you. He was close. I think Connors, I think maybe 3-putted on 16, but Gooch was right there. Top 5 finish for him. Got him into the WGC match play, so we get to see him next week. Great ball striker. His 3 years here, a miscut, a 20th and a 38th. So really like the form coming in with him. How well he played the last 2 weeks, and then having some history here and doing pretty well. I think Gooch is a great play this week. Last for me is Kirk. Kind of, bittersweet type finishing for him. I loved where he was at all week. Just terrible Sunday. Nothing else about it. Doesn't scare me too much here though. Doesn't have the best of recent form. I mean, course history, miscut, a 33rd, a miscut, and a miscut. But, on everything given, the way it is with, his putting, he's 7th in the field. Stats, he's 9th for me. Recent form, he's 3rd, even with that finish. Really like where his head is at. And I'm not looking too much at his history just because of all the personal changes he's had recently. I care more about how he's playing now. So there's some guys that just you have to go. Some of them I really like their history, and I'll use that. But I think there's also guys, if their current playing potential is so much better than what they used to be, I tend to kind of lean towards that more. So I like Kirk. Scott was my bubble boy just because I want to see how the ownership goes. If it's spread out or he doesn't think, if he doesn't look like he's going to be as chalky as I think he would be, then I do like him. He does have great history here. He's won here. Obviously, he's got a 14th, a 13th, and a miscut also to go with that win in the last 4 years. He didn't play here last year, but decent form coming in. 54th at WGC, which is not great there, and then a 48th last week. Just couldn't putt really, but tee to green game is going to be there. Maybe get a putter rolling, Bermuda. Who knows? We'll take a chance there. But if he's going to be high owned, that's the reason I had him on the bubble boy, to see being the cheapest there. Is he going to be high owned, or people just do it like I'm initially thinking is drop down to Henley, kind of see how that shakes out come Wednesday. But he's definitely in the mix for me. 8K range, I'm going to start with Davis, 8,600, an 8th here last year to go with a 59th 2 years ago. So 2 straight made cuts. I like that. Totally all putting for him right now. Tee to green's been great, but back-to-back, I say great. Back-to-back missed cuts, but still pretty good. Tee to green, but putting no good at all. And I don't know if that changes per se this week. But if he does, if he catches a hot putter, he also, a guy like him I like this week because he can get on such a birdie run, and those big numbers that he gets at times won't hurt him as much here. Because if we're projecting a 5 to 6 under, maybe 7, 8 under type winner, a double here or there doesn't kill you as much as it would as a 17, 18 under type of winner. So I like his upside. I like how he finished here last year with the 8th place finish. Maybe goes a little under the radar because of the recent form, and that's fine. But I'll take it, and hopefully he does, and we get low ownership. Benny On, one that kind of surprised me. I just didn't remember him playing well here all the time, but a 5th, a 36th, and a 4th. Great history here. One of the best, actually the best course fit for me, ranking-wise. This is one of his better putting splits. It probably is his best putting split. And so, a miscut, 43rd, and a 35th coming into here, so decent form. Nothing great, but obviously likes this place, plays it well. Not horrible coming in here. Like if he had 3 missed cuts, maybe I look at it a little bit differently. But we all know last week was hard, so I'm not putting a lot into that. And then played good the 2 weeks before, and played well at Puerto Rico, which a lot of these guys played for Puerto Rico. So that's one thing I was taking a look at for this week. So I like Benny On. 8,000 feels like a pretty good price, somewhere you can build around. Next is Fratelli. I'm kind of building like a team no putt. He couldn't putt to save his life last week either. Had a lot of chances. Very horrible Saturday. That was my play of the day on showstoppers, and then kind of moved off of him a little bit. I did play him in the MME Sunday, but he wasn't as high up, and he shoots a very good round Sunday. So I like the solid finish. Maybe he found something. He's played here the last 3 years, an 11th, a miscut, and a 58. Just it's always for him right now. It's going to come down, can he get a hot putter going or not? So I like him. I don't think he'll be too highly owned at $8,200 either. My bubble boy is a guy I think could get talked up quite a bit. Is Keegan. 8,400 feels cheap-ish, when I see it, but just because of who's in the field, I felt like he's probably one of the better ones in my mind. Best in ball striking, that's one thing I like. Mixed results here, a few missed cuts. He had a 49th in 2018. Similar to those other guys. Again, we know Keegan's, putter is going to be a big deal for him, but I do like his ball striking in general. A 29th and a 10th coming into here, so pretty good form. Something like I mentioned, I'm going to be key on. I just, I don't want too many of those guys. That's why literally when I was building it, I was like, I'm putting him in the bubble because I don't want like all the team no putt this week, at least in certain builds. But I don't know how popular he's going to be or not. I feel like he will. So, put him in the bubble kind of with Scott, 8,400, a name most will be, familiar with at a tournament that doesn't have as many big names. We'll see. Bogey avoidance worries me a little bit. He's 110th in the field, and approach game is okay when I'm talking about the accuracy approach. But number one, ball striking, which is one of the biggest stats from this week in general. I like him. Just put him on the bubble because of all those other things. 7K. Go back to Harold. Grinded out last week. He finished 61st, so nothing great. But a 21st the week before that. He's made 4 straight cuts here. He's that kind of guy. I always go back. I think it was Waste where he had like 36 straight pars or something crazy like that. Like he grinds a lot. The big numbers don't seem to come into play with him very often. This is a good fit for him in that regard. And I think if he can get a hot putter, he's definitely he's third in my stat model overall. Does everything well. In this kind of field, I really think this could be a breakout week for him, and he could get a finished up there top 20 and potentially win this thing. And I like the price at 7,600. Pretty popular typically, so we'll have to see if that continues. But he's one I would I'm at that price where 7,600. I just need a made cut. That's a perfect fit for me with him this week. Michael Thompson, 7,500, former winner here, has made 4 out of the last 5 cuts as well. A 53rd, a missed cut, a 24th, a 16th, a 57th. So likes this place, puts well here. Historically, 48th last week, so a little bit of form coming in, kind of like that. 38th in the stat model, just an okay player all the way around. At that price tag, we just need that made cut again, 7,500. And this week in general, like you want as many made cuts, and to see how things shake out. But at 7,500, if he makes the cut, you don't have to have like a big run on the weekend to pay off. But I think he has it here. We've seen that before, so I like him a lot. Lucas Glover, a guy I haven't really been on recently, but I don't mind it. 3 straight made cuts coming into this week. Last 5 years here, like he's either done really well or missed a cut. Miscut, 21st, 17th, 4th, and a miscut. So 3 great tournaments, sandwiched in between 2 missed cuts. He's 6th in my stat model, the things I'm looking at this week, 12th at course fit model. So a lot to like there. And at the min 7K, right on the nose, 7,000 even. I really like that price for him, and I think he's going to be a potential core play from this week. Harry Higgs, you look at his finish here last year. Or if you just look at his, where he was, you feel like hadn't done well, but he was really good last year. I remember watching him and was going good into Sunday, and then I think he shot 7 over on Sunday. So, but I think he finished 29th. So not horrible. No, I'm sorry, he finished 58th, but that looks worse than what it is if you take into consideration how bad the Sunday was. But he made the cut. So I mean, again, we're $7,100 with him. 29th last week. Played him on Sunday. He was super cheap. Good tournament in general. A little bit, price uptick this week, but I don't mind that. He's 9th in the putting model for me on the splits this week. So maybe you don't like the Bermuda a little bit better. I just need this range. We just need cuts. So, and I think he's live to make the cut, and he's a guy that can, go low at times. Like his personality, in general, just seeing the social media aspect, I think that he won't like overthink this place and kind of keeps him even kill. So I do like that. Just on the bubble, just because of who else was here. Nothing. He'll be in my pool more than likely. I like him a lot this week. 6K range, John Huh to start it out, $6,900. Another one up and down here, a 14th, a miscut, a 24th, a 59th, a miscut. Average on putting to the field, 62nd overall, so a little bit better than average. A 60-30, I think, 2 weeks ago. Good price, 18th in recent form for me. Ball striking, he's up there in the top 25% in the field. We like him a lot at times. I think he's got maybe not the highest ceiling, but at 6,900, could get hot here and it wouldn't surprise me. So I do like him. I think he missed the cut on the number last year, if I remember right. So not that matters. We could all go back and say that, but that would have been 3 straight made cuts here and 4 out of the last 5 years. But I do like him a lot this week. A lot more in DFS and maybe even as underdog betting wise, because I don't think he could win here, but I definitely think he can be there on the weekend, and we've seen him finish as high as top 15 here. So I like that a lot this week. Bo Hogue, he's a guy that I profile that would fit here. Grinder, I talked about this last summer when he was coming out, like how many times he grinded in college and Corn Ferry. When you go back and look at the history, missed the cut here, but that was only first time playing it, so I don't, not crazy. I'm not going to put that too crazy on him. He's 11th in my putting splits model. 26 2 weeks ago. He did miss a cut last week. $6,600 feels like a great price for a guy that I do think can grind and get pars and get you a safe play to get to the weekend and see what happens. So I like Hogue here. Wes Bryan, pretty good form coming in. He hasn't played in a while, and I was going to have a note just to see if there was a reason for that, but played well at the Sony. I can't remember. Back-to-back pretty good finishes the last 2 times he played. He just hadn't played, in several weeks, so I wanted to go check on that. But if nothing crazy there, he's 4th in my modeling as far as stats go, 15th overall. $6,800 is a good price to pay for him. He's got a 4th here and a miscut, so nothing. I'm not going to look too strong one way or the other there, but a guy that I think could be in your player pool and potentially be in that especially if you want to pay up to the Berger, Neiman type. He's a guy I think that could be live to be in your 1 to 3 maxes as well. We'll see how I feel on that once we get to deep dive and roll into the glorious nucleus and stuff. But he's one I like him a lot. Malnati, he's the bubble boy, and only because I just the form worried me a little bit. Definitely looked into it, and it seems to be more putting than anything. But I think he's missed 4 straight missed cuts when you go back and look at it. And yeah, that worries me. But at least if it is just the putting, which is what I looked at, seems putting and short game. So I guess around the green a little bit. At the price 6,900, I don't think many will be on him though with who's around him. So a good MME play, just enough there that the 4 straight miscuts. I mentioned you don't want to be trying to fix your game coming into the Honda, so that's why I have him on the bubble. But I could see him making it into the my final pool once we kind of get through the deep dive and stuff. Fade of the week for me. This was a little harder because a lot of the top price guys are in my top 20 and 30, which is not always like that. I do think I'll be interested, and also projecting ownership. I was kind of like, there's a lot of guys that you kind of got to dig back into when you're looking at historical data and stuff like that. But I'm curious to see where Gim ends up getting talked about. Obviously, horrible Sunday as well. I think him and Kirk were the 2 worst. Missed the cut here last year and shot 10 over. So I was like, all right, 8,800 was on TV a lot until he really just kind of blew it, and you didn't see much of him after that yesterday. But, I was thinking, obviously didn't do well here last year, real bad. And then the Sunday finish, maybe some stuff in his head, brings it in this week. But he's finished 29th and 36. So he's been playing well and for a while. Even before those 2 tournaments, he's been playing really well. So I like him, but I think he'll be popular at that price just because, he's talked up, played well last week. Yeah, the Sunday finish, but, that's a bounce back. He paid off, his full tournament type stuff. So I think he can flirt with that 15% type ownership number, 10 to 15%. I think that's going to be somewhat popular this week. Area 15%ish is pretty chalky. I don't think you're going to see a lot of, 25, 30% owned guys. I think it's going to be fairly spread out up there in the 9 and 10K range. So he'll be the guy that I'm going to fade. I'll be very light on him, unless I'm surprised and he comes in low. I don't think he'll come in low on. Then I wouldn't mind taking that bounce back from Sunday. But I think he'll be popular and talked up, especially in that pricing area. It's a good fall to number when you start building. So I'm going to pick him as my fade of the week, and I'll update that Wednesday like I've been doing if anything changes. Sleeper of the week on this early Monday is Patton Kizzire. I got him around that 2 to 4% early. I definitely don't see him getting over 5%. He's played well. He won at the Sony. Been playing pretty good. He's been on my list a few times, a 57th and a 35th. So I like how he grinded out, finished pretty solid yesterday. Okay here, a 26, a 66, a miscut, and a 68th. 39th in my stats, 31st in recent form. Course fit isn't great. He's one of the worst. He's not as good, but again, he's going to be super low owned. That's the reason I was like, 7,500. I'd take double the field on that if he's around that 2 or 3% mark. I think he's got high upside. I think his game's been trending in the right direction. That he's a guy that I kind of liked as a sleeper this week that I don't think many will talk about. My gut feel plays. I'm gonna start with Furyk. I like him. Steady Eddie. Kind of mentioned that motto for this week. He fits that greatly. He's got a 46th and a 9th here, and he did miss a cut last year, but before that, two pretty good, made cut and then a top 10. Definitely think a high scoring or low scoring, however you want to define it, being a 5 under can win this helps a guy like Furyk. I think he can make the cut. He's $6,900. Probably be pretty popular though. But I do like him as a gut feel play down there in the rankings. Werenski's next, 38th in my rankings. 3 missed cuts and then gets a 17th last year. So maybe found something here. Pretty good putter in general. A 4th 2 weeks ago. He did miss a cut last week, but he's 23rd in my stat model. The course fit bumps him down some, but he's a guy I'd keep your eye on. He can get hot. We've seen that. And if he does, he can shoot lights out. So I definitely like him. I think his mentality fits good here too. Matthew Neesmith. I think he's pretty popular last week. I don't remember off the bat, but a 38th here last year, 2 missed cuts though coming in. So he's one of those, wishy-washy, but has been playing so well and has such a good, ball striking game. He's second in the field behind Keegan. I like that this week. $7,300. He's a guy that's gut feel play for me. And my last gut feel is Stroman, who, unlike some of my theme this week of no putters, he is a guy that can putt. He's 8th in the field in the putting splits for me. 47th here last year, a miscut the year before, so just okay here, but I think he can make a cut. He's one that can definitely get hot with the putter and let it save him. But he's also 19th in my stat model, which doesn't take any putting into consideration. So I like that. I think he'll have a good week this week. And 7,700, that kind of price area, I think is going to be a one that you got to get right. And there's a lot of good plays down there. I mean, Wyndham Clark's at 8,000. Poulter's a grinder. Aaron Wise, made the cut, didn't do much, but he was there. He's got a pretty good history here. Poston, there's a lot of guys down here. Noren, another guy that, could be popular but I think he could do well. He can fit well here. So Russell Knox, a lot of guys I mentioned that 75 to 8,000 is kind of going to be peppered. So I think the ownership will get spread out because of that. But I like Stroman there, $7,700. Maybe he gets under the radar for some. Top 5 that pop and 2 long shots for me, brought to you by Monkey Knife Fight. Use the code GUPS, G-U-P-S. You get 100% off your first deposit. 100% match on your first deposit up to $50 for first-time users. So make sure you go do that. Use the code GUPS. Top 5 for me that popped. Neiman, 19 and a quarter is what I got. I don't see that very often, but that was a number I got at. I think I've seen some 20s out there, and I've seen as low as 16. So he'll probably move down some. I'd probably get on that if he's one that you do want. I don't go this low a lot, but I do think he's a guy that can win this without a doubt. Didn't really mention him up on the 9K and above because I think it's just going to be a decision. Do you eat the chalk or not with him? He's going to be a great play. A lot of people will talk about him. I'm going to wait to see how that unfolds till I get to Wednesday. We all know I love him, and I may just wind up with the bet and then just say, all right, I'll fade him in DraftKings and hope that works out. But and I may do that with a couple of those guys. My next one I like is Gooch, 28 to 1. Early, I think he was 33, so it dropped a little bit. But I went with when I posted it, what I could get out with. That's my free pick of the week for you guys. I have bet it already. 28-1, playing great coming into here. Has a great game for this area. Can play in the wind. Oklahoma boy, born right down the road from me. You live in Oklahoma, you play in a lot of wind, so I'm not worried about that for him. Cam Davis, 40-1. I felt that's a good number in this field. Benny On, I mentioned him earlier, 50-1. Another good number. He's got 2 top 5s here in the last 3 years. Chris Kirk, 40-1, another solid number. And I think my 2 long shots, HV3 100-1 and Wawrinski 100-1. I do think, and I have this in my notes, is John and I talk about this a lot, is that this is a course that, because the field is typically packed, a lot like last week, you have the ability to do more live ads. I think there's guys that can struggle or go out early, start bad, but they're not out of this tournament, and you can get some really good numbers. So I won't be as exposed up top or out the gate. I'll leave some of that bankroll because I do anticipate adding a few guys throughout the tournament. We've added as much as we got Palmer 2 years ago at like 500-1, 400-1 that Sunday morning when he went birdie, birdie, birdie to start. Wind up shooting 7 under that morning and was the clubhouse leader basically the whole day until Mitchell, got him at the end. I think it was Mitchell and Brooks, I believe, were the 2 that were right there. And Palmer, I think, lost by 1 shot. But those kind of numbers are out there. I kind of wish Palmer was playing this, but he's normally not in WGCs, and now he's qualified for that, and so he gets to go play next week. So I'm sure he's going to play. He likes playing the Valero, plays it a lot, and then I'm sure he's going to play he's going to play the Masters. So this was probably a good break for him. But I do like him at this course if he was here. So I would think about that on your bankroll and betting. I think there are some good numbers here to be had. Because I went Gooch, which is a lower number, I may go Neiman. I'll probably throw in a lot more long shots, and I'll just leave some bankroll for live ads. There's going to be spots this week that you can get some good ads. So keep that in mind. Basically, it one and done. Definitely going to be a week where you can use a guy, especially guys up at top. Like all my one and dones will probably come from 9,000 and above. You could dip down, like a Cam Davis, I think's a viable play. But the good thing about this week, I think, is these guys you really don't, not many of them you're probably going to use in other spots. So, maybe a Neiman, Sungjae, Berger, those guys you could use at other tournaments. But, Adam Scott, is there a better tournament than this right now for him to potentially, against the field is what I'm talking about. So, Chris Kirk, he's one of the highest priced, right? So definitely probably not on your mind for one and done. And that's the reason why I would always talk about not saving those big names, because you get to the end of the year and you're like, man, I could have used this guy and this guy and this guy. But we tried to tell you to map it out a little bit. I think this week you could pick some guys there in the 8K range. I wouldn't hate it now that I look about it. Still Keegan, Fratelli. But for me, I like the guys up top enough and their win equity that I'd probably stick in that Sungjae, Berger, Gooch, Neiman, Scott, maybe even Westwood. Mentioned him being kind of under the radar DK wise. That kind of correlates to one and done at times. Ownership is, when you can look at low owned guys or projected low owned guys that you think could finish high that are getting overlooked in DraftKings. You could take a guy like a Westwood here, and he may not be that high owned. Or, conversely, people may take him because they're not. Where else are they going to use him? Tringali, another one. I really hadn't even mentioned him. He's 4th in my model, 9,100. He could win this. So up there's several options this week. I think you could be a little unique. It's a good week to do that. Things kind of go crazy at this tournament. I mentioned that off the top. So I'd kind of stick in that area if I was. That's what I'll be doing. I'll always get my final 5 out on Wednesday, so I'll do that as well. I will let you know on final thought. E9. Normally been doing about 5:30 on Wednesday. I'm still going to try that. But if my schedule changes some, I'll obviously let you premium members know ahead of time so you can plan for that. Had a great discussion with Kenny last week. So I don't know if he'll go this week. He may take the week off, but if he is, he's always welcome. He'll probably be on for WGC next week, which just starts on Wednesday. So we probably definitely have to move the schedule up on that one. So little time, and they really don't release. I don't think I do. They've been doing the drawings, I think, on Monday night. Maybe they do it Sunday night just to give us a little more time. But it'd be a compact week next week for sure. But I'll let you guys know on E9. Looking forward to it. Looking forward to the week. I know this could be an easy letdown, hangover kind of spot. And if anybody was doing it, it'd be me. I was definitely, frustrated last night to an extent, but wake up, you start researching, you get going, another week, another money out there to be won, and I'm ready to grind. I appreciate everything. You guys have a blessed week, and I will see you Wednesday.